Damn right. In 2004, Syzygy, a company started by former Atari designer Kurt Vendel, released the original Atari Flashback. It was made to resemble a smaller version of the Atari 7800 and contained about 20 games, a mixture of 2600 as well as several 7800 titles. I received one of these units as a Christmas present, and although it's always nice to see new Atari stuff, I did wonder why they chose to give it the 7800 design as opposed to the more familiar VCS. There's also the fact that it uses these tiny facsimiles of the 7800 controllers. I mean, come on. Really? There was also some discussion among retro game enthusiasts about the internal hardware. In fact, it didn't actually run the real versions of the games, but rather ports of the originals that often differed in one way or another. Needless to say, this was unpopular with some people. Fortunately, Vendel and Syzygy changed the design for the Flashback 2 and made it look much more like the venerated 2600. The internal chip was also changed so that it could run, actual Atari games. Later versions added more included titles, as well as alternating between wired and wireless Atari 2600 styled controllers. In 2011, the company also licensed its design to At Games, which has been producing new versions of the console since then. So now that we've got the history lesson out of the way, we can finally take a look at the Flashback Portable. To start, it's worth noting that there are various models. The one shown here has a sticker on the front of the box that states it is intended specifically for sale at Dollar General, which makes sense because that's where I bought it. It also has this faux wood grain texture to the outer casing, which I must admit I really like. Older models you can find online and elsewhere don't appear to have the woody look, and simply sport a black plastic finish. Other features include a 3.2-inch LCD display as well as 6 buttons along the right side. The left side features a small directional pad. The power switch is located along the right bottom edge, and a 3.5mm headphone jack sits opposite. The top edge features a charging LED, replay button, an AV out plug, micro USB plug for USB charging, SD card slot, a save state button, and a volume dial. So yeah, actually quite a bit of stuff. As far as the display is concerned, it seems solid and looks pretty good to me. There's no ghosting or problems associated with some of the screens I've seen on handhelds of the past. The games aren't exactly visual extravaganzas to begin with, so I imagine any modern LCD color screen would probably work here, but it is nice that it doesn't look like ass. Speaking of games, mine comes with 80 built in, listed here. You're welcome to pause the video if needed. There are some gems and some not so much gems, as seems to be the case with most of the Flashback consoles. However, it really doesn't make much difference given the addition of the SD card slot. This is the feature that really sold me on the Portable. Given the size of your average Atari ROM, you could literally put the entire 2600 library on here. Now, having said that, I have seen comments from various people stating that they had trouble getting cards over 8GB to work properly. However, I took a gamble on a 16GB card and it worked just fine. So if there is an issue, I suspect it's with older models. However, I have no way to confirm that theory. I've also not tried cards larger than 16GB. Having praised it up to this point, I do still have some concerns. The first is the directional pad. Like the original Flashback controllers mentioned earlier, it's a little on the small side. It wasn't much of a problem for me, but for anyone with hands like a gorilla, it's possibly going to be. I also have to wonder how long it will last. Another concern is the rechargeable battery. I also tend to wonder how long that will last. Still, I do think that if you treat the unit with some reasonable care, it should be fine. The fact that it's pretty inexpensive is also a factor. If it does break after years of heavy use, you could conceivably just get another. Assuming they're still around, at least. So, would I recommend the Flashback Portable? Well, for anyone with fond memories of staring into a tube TV and pushing a one-button joystick around, I'd have to say yes. Get one. For those of you who don't have those memories, Why are you here? Anyway, that's about it. If you enjoyed this review, don't be shy about giving it a like, or maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. You can also leave a comment below if you have something you'd like to add. So until next time, please take care, and of course, have fun.